This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of
Interview with Alexis.
Sanctioned by the
co-leader of the problematic philosophies.
Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the
Doing fest.
All other weapons are restricted.
If you don't like problematic profanity,
What is this?
Watch your profanity.
Right, I'm sorry.
Crude Humor, and Silly Satire.
This is very, very bad. Excuse me.
Then you will not be
Pursued.
Hunted?
Granted immunity
Oh, okay.
and shall not be harmed.
Interesting.
Just kidding, you will be hunted.
You will be destroyed.
Absolutely. Destroyed.
Dead. Demolished.
Ha ha ha. LOL.
Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder,
Nice.
will be legal for 12 continuous hours.
Oh, hell yeah.
Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when
The interview finally ends. Thank God.
Hell yeah, brother, mother, sister, daddy.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
Alright, let's fucking go.
Open the bunker.
Please open the bunker.
Open the bunker.
Okay. Here we go, baby.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Absinthe, I went to Total Wine and More, right? And then I was just like, yo, like I'm gonna Google like some weird drinks or like something to put in a drink, like spike and stuff. And I was like, dude, absinthe, like, isn't that supposed to be like some kind of like drug, like DMT experience, right? So I got it. It's like this green liquid stuff, and then I'm like, all right, it's a little thick, like a little viscous.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was bad, dude. It was like, because it's like cough syrup, right? Or like,
no.
Yeah, dude, it's like a combination of like cough syrup and like black licorice. Like literally, that's the taste. And I'm like, yikes, dude. I'm like, oh god. And like, man, it was weird. Like I tried to mix it with like, I think like Tito's and stuff. Like make a drink, and it was like Tito's spiked lemonade. I was like, it's like Mike's Hard Lemonade, but it was like fucking bad, dude.
Were you okay? That sounds awful.
No, dude, that was last April. That was like not okay, man. I was like,
man, you caused the pandemic.
that was like beginning. Yeah, man. What was the worst pandemic drink you've had, man? Like the worst time you've had drinking?
It was at the beginning of the pandemic, so it's not going to sound that bad because in retrospect, it's not terrible. Thank you so much. But I was gifted a box of Pacificos, and I don't really like regular beer like that. Like even Pacificos, I was just like, you know.
Yeah.
And then first weekend in the at home in the actual quarantine, I had some tequila. What was it? I think it was like a small Don Julio, I want to say.
Okay.
And I poured
the little tiny ones, the little cute ones.
No, it's a little bit bigger. It's like not the regular size, but it's not the tiny shot ones either.
Oh, okay, it's an awkward one. All right.
So I poured some of that into the beer.
What the?
And it was
Bro.
awful. It was exactly what you were thinking of. Because I'm like, well, maybe
because Pacifico.
I'm like, maybe I could make it a little bit more enjoyable, but no,
no, dude, totally that's like the Pacifico. No, dude, that's like greenhouse gases in a cup or some shit, dude. That's like, nah, get out of here, dude, out of here.
Yeah, I deserve that. I totally deserve that because it was awful. I put the like cap back on it and I put it in the freezer and forgot about it for.
Wait, you froze it like a little popsicle?
I didn't want to think about it anymore, so I put it in the freezer.
Oh, okay. So instead of throwing it away, you're just like, hey, I'm just gonna put in a little popsicle thing going. All right, cool.
I think that was the worst quarantine drink I've had.
Yeah, dude, that sounds awful. Like now I don't even feel bad. I'm just like, man, I just had a absinthe and it was a bad experience. Oh, did you have a bad experience? Like, did you ever throw up during like a drinking session?
Did I? Damn. I was gonna send this link to my family.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll censor it out. I'll just be like, oh, he did it. Yo, you got. Oh man.
One time during quarantine, I was here at Sabrina's place, and she decided to make drinks. She was practicing bartending and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll be the guinea pig. I'm down for that. So I think we started the night off with like whiskey, I don't remember what drink it had, like blood orange, I think, in it.
You didn't remember? No, okay.
I don't remember, and you're about to find out why. Cause.
Oh shit!
So it was. Man. All I remember are the base spirits that were in there. So it was for sure. The first one was whiskey. Then I think I went on to vodka, and then tequila. Then the skull shots.
Wait, why so much mixtures? Oh my god!
Exactly.
Oh my god!
Oh, and then Pisco.
Oh my god! Wait, what's that? I don't even know what that is.
It's Southern Americans with Chilean, Peruvian. Everyone has their own. Excuse me, but the one I had was Chilean, and it's basically like their version of tequila. I don't want to ruin anything, so I can't explain this since I don't know it very well, but it's their pride, basically.
Dang, okay, what is it called again?
Pisco, so Pisco.
Pisco. Oh my god, no. Nah, Pisco. Dude, that's interesting. Dang, that's like...
So it's apparently closer to whiskey or something along those lines, but...
Okay, so it's like when people are like, oh, it's Scotch? Like Scotch is made in Scotland and that's made in like Peru. Oh, okay.
Exactly. Okay, there you go. That's a great way to put it.
Damn, I'm on it.
Don't get me wrong. We're amazing.
No, I bet, yeah.
I was having a wonderful night. I don't know why I do this thing when I catch a buzz where I want to start moving, specifically working out.
Oh, no. Whoa, moving? Like, like you're like dancing? Like, whoa, man. You start going off. Whoa, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just about. I kept whispering over to Sabrina how I wanted to work out and how I could really go for a run.
Whoa, wait, what the You're like, yo, dude, I'm about to beef right now, dude. Oh man, I'm about to not beef, but you're just like, I'm gonna like get, I don't know what's called.
No, I was gonna find an issue.
Work out. Yeah.
I was gonna find an issue for sure.
You're like, I'm gonna run, dude. Yeah. What the fuck? So you're like whispering, like, dude, I gotta get active. I gotta get out of here. I gotta Michael Phelps this shit, man. Oh man.
banging, brother.
Oh man.
And then basically ended off with me saying, hey, I gotta go do something real quick, and I just plopped myself onto the bed and knocked out, and then proceeded to throw up. So,
I gotta do something. Let me just. Oh my god, dog.
Not quite, but close.
Oh, okay. It's just the other end. So it's just all right, cool. Oh man, we got through that talk. Why don't you just introduce yourself? Because no one knows who the fuck you are. So it's just like, oh man, I should have censored that, huh? Because you're gonna send this to your family. No one knows who you are, man. Oh shit. Okay. My bad. Yeah. So tell me about yourself. I don't know who you are. I don't even know who I am, man. I got like a leg growing out my ass and shit.
Yikes, Reno.
That's oh my god, yeah.
I'm Alexis. I do photography, cars.
You do cars?
I do cars. Well, you don't,
No, okay. Yeah, you shoot cars. No, you shoot great pictures of cars. Hell yeah.
Thank you, man. I actually feel like I haven't done a whole lot of car photography lately. I feel like I stepped away from that just because I wanted to find other avenues to use photography for. So I just started doing a whole bunch of I started doing a lot of film. That's something that I got really big on while I was in quarantine. Like I'd done a little bit of it before, but when I got into quarantine, that's probably when it really kicked off with the whole film stuff. And I love it. It's a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of what else to describe myself, but sometimes I feel like that's about it.
Damn. Okay, I got some questions for you. What are you shooting on? What kind of camera do you work with?
So I have a couple, and actually, I think a little known secret is that I've been shooting on the same camera I started with. It's a little Canon D3400.
Oh hell yeah! All right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite lens to use with it? Like you have like a portrait lens you like, or like a wider one?
I like to use my 35 mil. It's a 1.8 stop, so it's not amazing, but my sister gifted it to me for a few Christmases ago, and I love it. That's literally, I've been published with that. I've done a lot of like wedding photo shoots and a lot of people's anniversary shoots and stuff like that. So that's really been my favorite lens to use by far.
Damn, dude. All right. What about the film camera? Like what are you slugging on?
I have a few actually. So I started with a Canon AV1.
Oh, dude, same. I sold it though.
No, see, I still have mine. So
oh shit, you keep it. I'm like, man, I don't need this. Like, fuck, I regret that though. So see,
I would feel the same way. That's why I'm a hoarder, man. I'm a hoarder because I think
you're a what?
And I know I'll regret it.
Hoarder. I see what you are.
I also have a little. It's called a Canonet, which is just a little point and shoot.
Yeah.
I recently came up on a Canon Rebel XS at a Salvation Army. I ended up getting for $10 actually. That one was a killer deal.
Oh man, that's a good one, bro. Oh yeah, man. $10 of that shit.
Yeah,
that's like the digital. It's like half digital, like a hybrid one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that one we had dropped by the Salvation Army, and it had a little price tag on it that said $35 or $30. And I go to check it out. The lady just says, hey, like, were you interested in that or something along those lines? And she says, what does the price tag say? I said, 30. She says, I'll give it to you for 15.
Whoa.
Then we're at the checkout and she only charged me $10 for it. So
bro, she's going to give it to you. She's like, nah, man. You can just take that camera, bro. Just like rip that off, man. Oh God.
I paid for it so quick before she could change her mind.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Do you like shooting on a specific like film, like a 200 or like 400? Some people go wild. They're like a 1200. I'm like, oh, what are you shooting? Like fucking like ligers, kind of panthers, a safari.
It's in the middle of the night. Yeah. No, actually, I haven't yet. I'm still going through all of them. So I just picked up some Cinestills and I'm giving those a shot. I haven't developed any Cinestills, so I still don't know how I'm gonna feel about them. For the most part, it's just been like the slipping my name right now or my mind. Oh no! How'd you take that sound out of my head? Because that's exactly what's going on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the fumble.
That's exactly what's going on in there. I am slipping. I do not remember which one I normally shoot on.
It's all good. It's wait, we'll say right here. I know which one you're talking about. It's the right. That's the one, right?
Dude, how do you know? Yeah. Wait, say it again.
It's the
I think you're pronouncing a little off. One more time. There you
That's
go.
it, right? Oh my
it's offensive if you don't say it like right. I'm sorry.
Hey, dude, would you ever shoot like medium format because that do like landscapes and shit?
I want to so bad, so bad. I actually have a funny story about something we did with a medium format camera that me and my friend got at a yard sale back when we were in middle school. We didn't know what we had. We thought it didn't work, so we used it as a coin jar.
Wait, what the fuck? I mean, that's an aesthetic coin jar. That's some like mid-century shit. That's some like live, laugh, love kind of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, like look at my coin jar.
Yeah, I got this medium format camera for $15, baby. Don't worry about it. It's a coin jar.
We still use it.
Yeah, as a coin jar, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man, is that disrespectful? I don't know. Maybe.
It probably.
No, it's not.
I'm going by the thought of it probably doesn't work. So we're giving it a new life. It has a new use now.
Yeah, man. Recycle, reuse. You know, just like Nah, I was gonna say something too problematic. I even stopped myself, man. Like I'm like, oh shit,
strong, man.
It's out into the internet, and I'm like, yo, people actually listen to this shit, but like they don't tell me. I'm like, fuck, oh man, my future employer, probably, I don't care, I don't know. All right, so here's another question for you.
All right, put it on.
How old were you when you were born?
9 months.
Anyways, what is your mother's maiden name?
Angelica. Wait. Garcia.
Oh no.
I was blanking out. It's either Gonzalez or Garcia.
What are your favorite 4 digits?
See, a man like me would say my social security number because that's the first thing.
That's what I'm going for, baby. That's what. Oh man.
No. I'll give you 3254.
Oh wait, hold on. I can't read, dude. That's why I have my glasses on. I still can't read. Fucking loser.
Maybe you got Spider-Man pulled off, and you could just take your glasses off, and now you can read without.
No, it's even worse. I'm like Dr. Rock. I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? All right, does he have? He have this? I don't know. You ever watch them? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That's where it's from. I fucking stole it from them, and it gets mad. Like I get like copyright strikes and shit. Anyways, so what's something about you that most people familiarize, like with your work? That was such a weird. Okay, hold on. Let me just reword this.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
You lost me halfway through there.
I know. I lost myself, bro. I'm like, Celine Dion. Dude, I'm losing it.
The question got hard really fast.
Okay, that's better. Maybe it was the music throwing me off. What's something about you that most people familiar with your work that you do wouldn't know? So either people you work with, coworkers, or people you've worked with before. Maybe it's a hidden talent. Maybe it's a little secret. Maybe you can wiggle your pinky toe and they don't know.
Oh man, that's really tough. I take my work a lot more personal than it would seem to a fault. Like a lot of the work I do, whether it be at my own job or creative work I'm doing on the side, I want to make sure I'm putting every single piece of thought into it, even if it's just a normal, whether it be like an engagement shoot or something like that. I want to incorporate something into it that or let people know like, oh, this is such and such work, but it's like there's a lot more thought I put into it than I think most people would realize, and a lot of it ends up being a lot more subtle than I would like. So it's all for naught, basically.
You notice, and that's the thing. It's like would you describe your work and everything you do kind of like interconnected, like it's an ongoing piece or saga for you to kind of experience or people to kind of pick up on?
So I've done a few different pieces like that. But most of them, I don't say most of them would end up being that way. So the way I do a lot of my pieces that I end up making, like, for example, I'm not sure if you call it on my Instagram, Colors of Love.
Yes, yeah.
And I love that shoot, but that shoot was from like 2-3 years ago. And a lot of my collage work ends up being just work I go back and look at, and I try and make stories out of pictures I already took.
Nice, dude. Hey, that's
I actually had done an example of that on Twitter a long time ago, where I grabbed a bunch of loosely connected pictures in like my Lightroom and tried to make a story with them.
Dang, yeah. Okay, so you see the beginning, middle, end, but it's not chronological, right? It's just like random pics. You're like, oh, this goes with this. Like, are you kind of looking for a temperature? Because like with the colors of love, it was that same theme of like having the color palette, right? And going with the color palette, which is really unique. And you couldn't really tell that there are different times and places and stuff. It was kind of like a, like you said, like a movie, like a storyline going through it. Do you like to kind of incorporate a chronological feel with it, going to for a tone or for an atmosphere?
You know, it really depends what I want to do with that specific project, because I have a thing where I want to make lasting work. And even if it's not noticed now or something like that, I want to make something that has deeper meaning than just the surface level. And I like trying to do that as much as I can, but it all shows in different ways. So some things will be thematic based off what's in the pictures themselves. Some of them will be temperature based, like you said, and some of them might not have any relation. So it just depends exactly what my goal for that specific one is.
What's been like the most difficult piece to kind of piece together? You know, do you have something in the drafts, in the works, kind of that you're thinking about how you're going to make it a collage, or how you're going to make it kind of a storyline, kind of make it flow?
Yes, actually, I struggle the most with that with
Tell me your secrets.
Film. So I've been trying to do more of the colors of love, and that one has been really, really tough because I decided to do that because I realized the majority of the work I was doing, I wouldn't post. I wouldn't put it anywhere because it was private. It was like whether it be engagement photos, anniversary photos.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, for clients and stuff, it's like, yeah. It's
exactly. So I decided, you know what? I want to do stuff with all of these. And the amount of work I've done for all that I have in my gallery, it's really hard to piece them together and make them fit together. So that's one challenge. When the next time you see me post is when you'll see that I've gotten over that hurdle, because I really want to use all my previous work with all of my clients that I've done before and post it, but make it my own. So kind of like going back to what we were talking about earlier, I'm taking engagement photo shoot, wedding anniversaries, stuff like that. And I want to make them all into one cohesive piece, even though it's all different people with entirely different stories. And I want to work with the bones of what I have there and see if I can make something a lot bigger than what it is.
The theme with that would be like engagement, like intimacy, or something related to that, right?
Closer to intimacy and then just connection.
Connection, okay.
But that's part of what I'm really struggling with. So I don't want to do it connection based. And I could go through all the drafts in my notes right now and see all the projects I'm working on. 100 different projects at the same time. That's why none of them end up getting done.
How do you kind of get out of that? Like, you know, because you do post them. Like when you post them, it's literally a series of posts. And I'm just like, yo, it's dropped. It's dropped, dog. Oh, check this out, dog. And then everyone's like, oh, man. Oh, wait, that's the wrong sound. Hold on. Everyone's like, yeah. I know. You're like, oh, dude, that's me. That's on. Hey, shut the fuck up, dude. What? I have an audience back here. Hey, fuck, man. Dude, the audience is...
You know what? That's awesome. I've never heard that perspective of my side of things, but I assure you that I feel the exact same way whenever I finally finish a piece and like I'll send it to all my close like loved ones and be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? So I test the waters before I actually go and publish it. But for the most part, when I send stuff out, I've already made my decision on where stuff is going to go. I have some really talented friends and thoughtful friends that I always look to for advice or opinions on.
That's good though. Yeah. Get that clear transparency. Is like, all right, oh, dude, like fix this tone, or it's like it's not blending well or something. Like, you know, the honest opinion, like, oh, it makes me feel like this. That's always good to have that like trustworthy perspective with it. And with that, it's like when you send it off, or like when you're kind of hesitant, how do you kind of come out of that like hesitation? Or do you have any like kind of like recommendations of like what you do of the process of finally getting clarity to know where you want to publish it, know how you want to publish it, and share it, whether it be just on social media or just with those private friends and family or close inner circle, or just get published and send it off to maybe like a bigger client, you know? How do you kind of like strategize that?
So it's going to sound very cliche. Yeah, It sounds very cliche because all I tell myself is I'm my biggest critic. Like without a doubt, I am my biggest critic. And most other people do not see the little intricacies or the little things bothering me. As much as I want to get close to perfection, a big thing that I have been trying to work towards, especially during all of quarantine and finding out new things about myself, is that I'm pretty mean to myself when it comes to my own work and stuff like that.
Don't be mean to yourself. You gotta love yourself. Be critical. Be constructively critical. You know, yeah, I see that. Is it kind of like a comparison thing, or you're just like, yo, fuck you, dude? Oh my god, nah.
I think it's more the second one.
Wait, why, bro? You can't just do that. You just damn. I get that. Where it's like, is it like a self-loathing thing, or like, man, you're just like, dude, like no one's like you said, like you're like, I hope I leave an impact, but it's just like that's like leaving it to like, I hope. It like reaches someone and stuff, and you're like, oh man, like what if it doesn't, stuff like, which is like, dude, fuck that, honestly. Listening out there, fuck that, man.
It 100% is just me being a critical overthinker. Like, since I was a kid, man, like I had an English teacher once tell me that I overthought a poem and that my answer was overthought. And that rage from that day still fuels me to this day now.
God,
because I'll be looking at my work and I'll be overthinking one piece, and I know that I'm overthinking my own work, which is stupid because it's my own work.
Yeah,
but
bro, like who's that teacher, bro? Let's go, man.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, I just have to kind of remind myself like, hey, this is good. You did what you were like, as long as I can tell myself I did what I wanted to do on this one, that's the main thing. Because most of my overthinking comes from, is this too much of this color? Is this too low of a temperature? Is the framing off?
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, it's like, I just have to take a step back and be like, I think most people enjoy this. And I feel like I got my point across. And at this point, I'm not going to go back out there and take these pictures again, especially because these people probably don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
So I think it's just my own thoughts are the biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
And I have to take a step back and realize that to let myself go past it.
That's a hard line or a boundary to kind of set with yourself. And like, where do you kind of establish that boundary of being a perfectionist and then being critical and then just being someone that's just like, I just want to like make it to my vision without being like a perfectionist, critical, but they just want to make it kind of like right. Basically, they just want to do it right in the steps. Like, where are you at?
I'm still trying to find that line. So if you find it, you let me know, because I'm still trying to find that too.
If I find like walk the line,
what do you think I am, Johnny? I don't know where it's at, bro.
You think I know? I'm asking you for advice, bro. This is your podcast episode, bro. I just have this.
I'm asking it right back to you. You ask a question, I can ask it right back.
That's true, man. We got some reflection. You reflect that trauma back at me, bro. I'll just jump. That's true, man. That's a hard boundary, especially as a creative. Like, it's like multifaceted, like thoughts of comparison and then comparing yourself with other people, comparing yourself with yourself, like your past. You know how you're saying, like, you go back into your Lightroom and you just look at where you were and you're like, oh, dude, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, yo, I was so much better this year or like in this atmosphere. And I'm like, yo, what happened? And then I like do photography again or like have a specific moment where I take a good shot. Or I do like a creative work and I'm like, oh, dude, I still got it. What the? But then it's like,
for sure.
Yeah, it's like that dip, that creative rut that kind of like gets harsher and harsher, especially when I sit on a project. Do you ever feel that, like when you're sitting on a project or feeling in your thoughts of not publishing, where you're just like kind of entering that rut? And if you enter it, like, how do you kind of get out of that, man? Like, how do you kind of pull yourself out and be like, hey, I'm going to just try something new? Like how you mentioned, you want to kind of go a different direction. You weren't taking a lot of pictures like of cars and stuff, or like landscapes or like city work. I'm not sure like how you're focusing on that, but you kind of want to go a different direction. How did you kind of like make that decision?
I think I came about that when I would look at my work, and as good as I objectively thought it was, I knew I could do something different. And I've always been the kind that I want to try my hand at absolutely everything.
Yeah, man. Renaissance
every
man.
Single thing. I want to dip my toes into all of it and give it a shot into everything.
Ooh, we don't mention toes. Oh, boy,
sorry.
We don't mention toes on this podcast, baby.
Is that a hot word?
Incorrect. That's a trigger word for us. I hate toes.
Hate them.
See ya. That's the end of this podcast. Well, everyone, tune in next time. Tune in never, baby. Did you just bow? You bowed on an audio podcast, dog.
Oh, you
do it.
stink!
I'm bowing out. I mentioned the word I should have mentioned.
The toes, the freaking.
Hey man, you just said it again. You're one strike away from getting booted from your own podcast. I'll take over this guy.
Yo, dude, honestly, like there's that. I don't even know baseball, dog. I'm illiterate. So, but okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. So you're saying like the redirection of it, but it's not abandoning everything you've been doing, like per se, because you are a really well-rounded person, really well-rounded creative person in general. Like you're very like nuanced. You're a man of taste. Like, what's the sound like?
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
With that, it's like the Renaissance, man. There's so much to do and like the eagerness to do that. So how do you kind of like time yourself, schedule that, kind of like set your goals for that?
I don't. And that's the main thing I've been struggling with is I don't. I'll randomly decide to try something new one week and then go over to the next. I think my ultimate goal would be to combine everything into one cohesive project. I have a few ideas for live galleries that I'd like to take on, and then I'd be reaching out to creatives that I look up to. You're definitely one of them. I know that some of your.
Oh, you talking to him? Oh yeah,
that guy right there.
Yeah, that guy back there.
The picture that you took in the subways, man. I'm never gonna forget that picture. That picture was one of the main things that really kind of motivated me to redirect my photography, because up until that point, I think I was still mainly doing automotive photography. And right around then, I'm like, hey, there's a lot cooler things that you could do where cars don't fit. And I think that's the main thing for me. I think I decided to find also what worked for my gear. My gear at the time wasn't working for me in the way I was trying to do it. And that's always one of the big reasons why I tell people, do not worry about gear once you start shooting. You know, a lot of people ask me like, hey, what lens should I get? What camera should I get? And a lot of people don't know that to this very day, I'm still shooting on the same setup I started with, minus the lens, which it has changed a couple times. But as far as editing goes, I still do my editing on my phone in Lightroom.
Yeah, it works
for all of my shots. And it's just, I found what worked for me, and I was able to get my thoughts across through that platform. And that's what worked for me. So I want to find something that works everything I've learned into one piece. And
yeah, man.
I'm getting a little off subject there, but
this is your train, baby.
Reason why I try and branch out as much as possible, so I could try and put everything into one cohesive piece, whatever it ends up being. I still have no idea what that
in itself. Like as you're discovering what interests you the most, because you're trying different things, and there's different like parts of like the interests I get. Like, you know, like food, right? Like it's subjective. You're like, I like spicy food, but you're not gonna have fucking spicy fucking Cheerios and shit like that. But like, you know, that's a horrible example, because exactly, why not?
Why not?
You freak. But like, why not? Exactly. Thank you, baby. Problematic, but hey, excellent. Oh. I could see that like with film, because film is mostly for prints. So you blow it up and stuff, and that could be its own unique collage in a live setting and stuff like that. Or it could be manipulated with aging or freezing the film, and there's so many aspects. Same with digital. And like, dude, I totally get that like editing on your phone thing, and like just all that shit about like unless it's like for a specific gig where like a video or something, like, or like you need like a high speed camera, like that's different. Like, but like shooting comfortably with the equipment, you know, and the equipment that you know works, you know, it's always trustworthy and stuff. Even editing on your phone, especially if it's going to go into like fucking social media, people are going to be looking on their phone. So like, it makes sense.
That's the main reason I do it.
Yeah, bro. Like in 2019, I forgot my computer. I was on the tour, right? So I flew in. I was like, yo, of all the things, like I got into the tour van. They're like, yo, what's up? I'm like, okay, brought my camera, brought everything, but yo, bro, I forgot my computer to edit. So I'm gonna be editing on my phone, dog. Airdropping it from my camera to my phone, yo. But dude, it worked. It literally worked, and I was just in my head, like, that's how I started. I could just do it from there. There's like fucking Photoshop mix or some shit like that, you know, like it works. And people out there just fucking like, man, like just seriously like get into something, not worrying about the equipment first, or like not worrying about
100%
taking a class. There's fucking YouTube, dog. Like just like read a book. I don't know, read a blog, or just do it, you know, like. How did you get into photography, dude?
For me, the main thing I use for editing is Lightroom on my phone. And it's because it works. And that kind of ties back into how I actually started shooting. So I've been into cars for basically as long as I can remember. Don't know exactly when it happened, but right around high school, when I got my first car, I kept bugging my one of my best friends to borrow their camera, because they were in yearbook for the high school. I didn't have a camera at the time, so I'd bug him constantly, and like, or I'd bring him with me to go take pictures of my car and stuff like that. I just didn't like the shots that they were taking. So I'm like, hey, you know, can I borrow that? And I'd be like, okay, I like that one. I like that one. So it started with me basically just stealing the camera from my friend. Until they got annoyed and I had to go out and get my own camera, which was honestly one of the best things I could have done for myself, because that set me up on a different trajectory than if I would have just kept borrowing the camera.
Imagine.
So I'm thankful in a very weird way for that having happened.
Hijacking the shit.
Exactly. But I feel like I've always been into some sort of art and photography. I've been drawing since I was a kid. I'm not very good at it. I got okay at it for a while, but it was only drawing cars. I never was able to draw anything else. Even to this day, I'll be at work. If it's a slow day, I'll be sketching a car off to the side just so I never forget how to do it. I knew I wanted to do some form of creative thing. And throughout the years, I just kept doing different things. For a while, I used to be a driver for work. I'd deliver stuff. I'd be listening to music and storyboarding music videos that could go with the songs I was listening to.
Damn, yeah, that's sick. That's the way to go, man. Yeah. Like, honestly, like making a playlist and like making that storyboard, like you said, capturing moments, like remembering beautiful moments, or like literally just emotions, like captivating emotions that kind of get you and draw you. And if they draw you in, it's going to draw another audience. The spectrum of who it affects is beyond you. And that's exactly what you're saying about, I hope my work influences people or like impacts people. Like, fuck yeah, it is. Because look, you were influenced by literally cars, like taking a picture of cars and captivating something that you love and you're passionate about, interested in. So it resonated with so many people in so many different ways. So that's why it's like so important to like keep capturing those moments in between. How do you feel about it when people are like, oh, yo, live in the moment, like put your fucking camera away or like your phone away? Like, how do you feel like it? How do you feel about that saying of like living in the moment? When do you truly live in that moment?
Oh man, I'm attached to my camera. So I used to think that way where I'm like, you know what, live in the moment, put the camera down. And then I started realizing I don't remember shit.
Yeah.
I need to take pictures.
You freak. Yeah.
I need to take pictures or else I will forget. So I'm the biggest proponent for, if you like it, take a picture of it. If you enjoy the moment, record it. I'm all for it. I absolutely love it. It would make no sense for me as a photographer to try and say something like that.
That's
First
true,
of all, I rule no one. I'm in charge of no one. That's not my job.
No, you rule everyone. Yo, you are my liege. My liege. You are in control of everyone now. There's no one to control, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all good.
I left my crown over there, but I mean,
you're like, it's too heavy to pick up, Keen. Please,
so I left it
get
down,
the forklift down.
It's hurting a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're just like, oh, crack that dick.
That's my biggest thing is if you enjoy it, take a picture of it. My sister, anytime my sister and I would go to concerts, she'd record the whole thing. I'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
Guess who still remembers those concerts to this day? My sister, not me. She has the video.
Yeah. Because she has the video. She's like, yo, remember this part? You're like, yo, I don't, but let's pull up the Carfax, dog. Pull them up. Let's
exactly.
Go.
It's a Carfax for life.
Honestly, that is so true. Yo, fools were putting like photo albums together. Hey, that shit's cute. I love arts and crafts. If you don't like arts and crafts, fuck you, dude. But arts and crafts.
I'll double that statement. Yeah, fuck you if you don't like arts and crafts.
Yeah, fuck off. Get out of here. They were putting like photo albums together, like embarrassing, like not embarrassing, but like, you know, like little ugly babies. Like fuck babies, but like ugly baby pictures.
They're ugly for the most part.
They're ugly. They're useless. Pop them out. You know,
they don't work.
Yeah, they don't work. They are freeloaders, but we have surpassed the need for babies. Just become a full ass. No, fuck toddlers too. Hey, honestly,
fuck people in general, man.
No, okay. Yeah, damn. That's what I was saying. Remember, I was like, yo, people are useless. Like, damn, that photo album or like creating a craft of like compiling like home videos and shit like that. That's so special and like cathartic in a different way. Like not just like nostalgic of like we didn't have like a digital sphere, but also creating that like collage atmosphere and then keeping those memories. Like it's always going to be a different format of like when I take film pictures, because I use like a disposable camera and that shit hits different, dog. Like Fujifilm.
They're awesome. It's
sick. Yeah, I love like kind of like it's so practical, but then also people react like it's a phone. Whereas like if you put a camera with like a lens, they're like, oh my gosh, híjole, and they're like just weird about it.
Yeah,
and I'm
like camera shy. They do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Like my whenever I take a picture with my disposable camera, like no matter where I'm at, when I was like on the road and stuff, even with a cat, like it's just like they're just like, oh shit, oh yeah, they get like hyped and shit. I'm like, yeah, all right,
it's cool. Universal. It's universal. It's comfortable. I think people are familiar with it a lot more than they're familiar with a big DSLR, you know, big old lens. I mean, I am rarely in front of a camera, but when I do, I forget everything I've told people to do.
Oh, dude, same. I'm just like, you know, someone's monitoring, like, how should I pose? I'm like, bro, just stand there. I don't know. How do you pose for?
Yeah, people? I forget everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, pose for like when you're taking a picture, but without the hands, like the selfie, you know, like I don't know. But it's so cool. Yeah. Remove it. I'll Photoshop them out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, oh man, hey, did you ever have to like what's the hardest like Photoshop you had to do, like photoshopping like a cloud or something, or like an actual child or a hand?
Oh man,
like what's the hardest one?
A whole grown woman from a shot before.
You're like, fuck you, dude. You're out of here. Nah,
you're like my mother-in-law.
Oh shit.
But, whoops. I've had to remove fences, gate, pretty easy stuff. But it gets a little harder when you're doing it on your phone. For a while, I wasn't taking credit for the shots I took at the LA protests. I finally came around to taking credit for those shots. You know, there was a lot of fear with not being associated to that, especially with sensitive status and stuff like that. You know, so for a lot of those pictures, it took some time, but I removed all the faces.
Oh yeah, it does,
from every single person that was in the shot. But it was really important for me to leave the masks in, because for me, that set may be one of my favorite sets ever, because I took the people out of it and left the masks in it to show exactly how important it was to be there. You know, it's one of those things that makes it a real period piece. In the future, it'll be easy to identify when it was.
Absolutely. Not just the postings and not just the message of what they were showing, like on the signs or what they're protesting, because it's a a still picture. You don't know what they're saying, but the actions of what they're doing, that's one of them. And not just that, it's like you said, the period piece of wearing the mask, it kind of like staples the year. But not just that, it's like this shit has been happening for like centuries, basically. The whole like humankind, they're just like, it's like discrimination towards people that are indifferent from like, I mean, like, I don't have to explain this to you. I don't have to explain this to everyone, but like we understand that it's so fucking like, it's not mind-blowing, but like, what's the word, dude? Like, I don't even know. I'm losing my mind.
Hey, well, I mean, for me, it just shows how important it was to be there. You know?
Oh yeah, after quarantine, like everyone coming out. Yeah.
It shows the masks. Exactly. It shows, you know, we're out there, you're out there risking an infection for something that has been known to kill people. But you know that you're out there for a specific reason, and that at that moment is more important than anything else.
Showing that everyone was wearing a mask creates that safe space of like, we still care about our community. And that's why we're out here. We care about the people that we're demonstrating for, that we're demonstrating to, because we want actual change. And we want change because we're going to stay here for the long run. And since we're staying here for the long run, that's why we're demonstrating that this inequity can't be stood for. It can't be like tolerated anymore. And it's so surprising that like it's still not in the conversation anymore. It's so performative. Speaking regarding like everything that they've done performatively, like last year and everything, it seems like it's just a trend. Like almost like every decade, like this shit happens. Almost every year, this like these demonstrations happen more because, of course, like last year, like people wanted to like go outside and like really show what they believe in, their ethics and moralities, or if it was just because people actually genuinely did care.
I think it's a mixture of both. I mean, I think it shows, you know, how much people cared. And on top of that, I mean, you had the perfect storm for something like what happened last year to happen. And it did, and we saw it in full force. And I think it's something that shouldn't be forgotten. I know other creatives plan on doing stuff, but I also plan on releasing prints of some of those shots within due time, and you know, funding that money back into the communities that need it most and still most impacted by stuff like that, especially with COVID being as bad as it's come around. That money, I could see it being used for that kind of thing. And it's definitely seen as a trend, unfortunately. At least that's what it feels like. I'd love to be proven wrong. You know, temperatures can simmer on stuff like that. Last summer will never be forgotten, and I think most people know that.
It's a historical moment that we're living in. Let's get the dinger out. Worst presidency. We got a fucking pandemic. We got the stock market getting bailed out 3 times, doing the best ever while the people are disenfranchised. Education going down, baby. We got world wars. Yo, like we didn't even talk about all the okay, not even just like referencing the Syria bombing, which killed 10,000 people, so fucking much. But remember the bombing, dude, it even is escaping my mind. It was at the factory, like at the ports. Remember that?
Yes,
oh my God.
I remember. It was the oil tanker.
And it just like exploded. It looked like a fucking nuclear bomb. Is horrible, dude. And that happened in the summer too, I think. Yeah, or like August,
it happened right around the same time, because I remember all the very bad videos that came out trying to blame the very wrong people for it. Those are always fun to see, you know, making a tragedy and trying to make it your own. That's always the nice thing to see, you know?
Literally problematic. I see that and I'm like, ooh, these people should have died. I'm like, I mean, like talking about like insurrection and stuff, like, you know, that like that one like fucking literal neo-Nazi got like fucking pegged for life. And I'm like, yo, like it's a Nazi, dog. We went to World War II for that shit. What the fuck? Why you have sympathy for a fucking donkey?
Oh man, I was actually just having a discussion on that not too long ago, just recently. I'm not going to say I sympathize with some of these people. All I can say is the issues in our education system are very, very obvious when you see things like that happen. A lot of it has to do with ignorance, and a lot of it has to do with ignorance with technology and understanding the difference between what's real, what's not, what's half real, what's not. You know, it's just, it's a big education issue. And I feel that needs to be handled before we can really have the real conversation as to why we're having such a split between people, because I don't think we're that far apart as much as we think we do. We're a few sentences away from being like, oh wait, yeah, that's what I've been trying to say, you know?
Yeah, we're just like, oh,
it's like, oh, that's what you meant, dude. That's what I meant too. I just said it racist. Like,
you're like, I'm just racist about it, but we're the same. Yeah, they're like, we're the same, but you know what? I'm a little better. And like, dude, you're so right about technology. Like, I'm very conservative about technology. No, I'm very into the safety of it. As in, our generation were thrown into technology. We saw it evolve without any repercussions. There's literally no rules because it's worldwide. It's not privatized in any way, which is good and conceptually, but it's also not regulated by anyone, which is kind of problematic in itself, because it's like there's so many things like predators, there's so many things about child trafficking, sex trafficking, with not just talking about like dark web or anything, but just like the approach to the internet and how people could not understand what's manipulated, what's the real Carfax, and what's like fake news and shit like that. It's hard to teach that because it's not like what regulation and like restriction is, but then also teaching that's like subjective morally too. It goes across like freedom of speech, freedom of thoughts, and also like how do you tell people that like you need to like investigate more? I know like in our schooling, like we're fortunate enough to be in a more like progressive or liberal schooling system where they would be like, you know, check your facts, like citations and stuff like that from writing. So we kind of like integrate that into our everyday lives with the internet. But with the growth of the internet, it's seen it's still not like an art and everything. It's still not what we want. Where it's like Instagram, for example, they're filtering out like sex workers and stuff like that. Yet they don't filter out like racists and shit like that, and all those things. Or like Tumblr banning porn, where that was someone's literal income, or banning. They're saying like it's hate speech when someone's just being like, yo, fuck, like the only example I have, like KKK, Nazis, like these people, and they're like, oh, that's spreading propaganda and stuff, but it's literally a edifying propaganda. It's edifying because it's like educational, informative, and they're kind of like censoring that in some way. So like how do you think like we should kind of like approach that, knowing that we're in like the golden era of technology, or the internet at least? The internet, we understand it a little bit more. We saw the birth of it, and now we could kind of groom in, like kind of mold into like where it should be responsibly. How do you think we should approach that as artists, as kind of like making our point of being provocative, still educational, but also being respectful of I guess like if people do like boudoir shoots and shit like that, you know, like being respectful of like minors and like I guess like censorship, but not like censoring people's like words or anything. And publishing stuff. How do you think we should kind of like approach that, like educationally and like as creatives and everything like that?
So I find that a little hard to answer as a creative, because I feel like creatives get this kind of like a pass for the most part of doing what you need to do to get your point across. It's really hard for me to split this from a political point of view, since that is one of my major goals in life, is to eventually get into politics, you know, because the way I look at the internet is, the US was not founded at a time when the internet was a thing. The idea of it was not remotely close to what our prime example of good, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and such, they weren't modeled or made with the internet in mind. That's a tough conversation to have, because we're a country run by old men that are 3 generations behind the majority of the country. If I had to throw a dart, I'd say it really requires a new body of government that fully understands what exactly the internet is and how it's ever evolving, and how laws will change basically day by day. And it's going to be really hard to get something like that to work in a country that is so connected to its constitution that is way too old and just outdated. I think it's beyond amendments at this point.
We kind of spoke on technology and the internet and everything connecting people in communities, because you could kind of see it more. You could kind of see artists that I guess like wouldn't be well known or anything, because technology has gone so far and become a little bit more affordable in some ways, in some communities at least, where people can share their experiences, share their art, share their passions more. Do you think that sphere of sharing things, sharing experiences, should also go into, of course, like how business people, how professionals, how politicians are using their platforms to share not just information, but they're kind of using their platforms to demand stuff, to fire people, even to disenfranchise groups and stuff. And it's not as formal as before, as just like how publishing isn't formal. It's just on Instagram, and then people are like, yo, all right, cool. That's it. Like, that's the gallery. That's where I present it. Do you think there should be more of a formality of not just how we approach art and creativeness, but also a formality of everything we're doing, because the internet has made things a little bit accessible, but also more informal? Or do you feel like it's more formal?
I don't think it's informal. I think we need to draw new boundaries here at this point. Because I feel like the way we've received media for the longest was people trying to be like, no, this is tradition, this is how we keep it. But it's right back to the movement of the internet. It has moved way past what we knew, and whether or not we know it, we're living way further in the future than we think we are. And I think our new galleries are our Instagram galleries, our posts and stuff like that. I think we need to view them differently as opposed to thinking of them informal or formal.
Okay.
Back in the day, you used to write letters, emails. I'm sure some people may have thought we're informal, we're not going to stick around. The goalposts keep moving on this. So I think we need to get past the idea of goalposts. I think what it is what it is. It's the life we're living, and it's our environment. And now we have both our physical lives and our electronic lives online. And I think that's just kind of the way we have to start viewing things, because I'd love for people looking at my post to be like, hey, this is awesome, this is art, I'm consuming this art in this way. Now, if you want to buy a print, bring it physical, that's great. But I think it's a great way of getting smaller artists to feel like they're being noticed.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't have to make it to a gallery to be noticed. Or look at YouTube. You no longer have to get signed onto TV show. You don't have to audition. You can make your own thing. And now, look, you made it. I think it's just we need to stop moving the goalposts and just accept things for as ever evolving.
No, I absolutely agree with that. Like, and that's the thing. It's like more accessible, which is amazing. That's my favorite part. Not just accessible to people for connections, because like I mean, I met you through the internet, the World Wide Web, and like that. I am so fortunate and so blessed to have the opportunity to even like talk to you using the internet and seeing your work through the internet. Seldom do I see galleries on Instagram or websites as informal, because that's the medium they chose and the medium of how they present it, you know, like creatively, or just they wanted to share it. Yeah, I really enjoyed like how you said like the boundaries, how we had to move the boundaries, reframe our mindset, because everything's changing, especially being progressive, especially being creative and being flexible with how we consume media, consume art, and how we digest that whole process of from creation to the behind the scenes with like, you know, Instagram stories or whatever, behind the scenes of YouTube, to publishing it and interacting with people too, because even in galleries, we don't get that interaction. But when you post something on the internet, you have that constant, almost like a blog feel, and the back and forth with the person that created it. You could leave comments, you could leave likes, you could DM them privately in an appropriate way instead of sending some random shit. You're like, yo, let's group chat, yo, $3.99 for this picture. No, fuck that, no. And it's really cool because that builds a community. Because you said you want to like kind of incorporate, I was gonna say cahoots, in a collaborative effort, in a collective effort to publish your work and to show your work and show everything you're interested in. And is that kind of to show and to display that storyline, that storyboard you have in your head? Are you going towards the path of like growing a community of interaction?
I think it's all under the same umbrella at this point, really, because like I said, one thing allows for the other thing to happen. You mentioned that we met each other through Twitter. If I had a mic, I'd make the very blown up sound that you just made, but I don't have a mic on mine.
Oh wait, which one? Oh yeah, just okay.
Can you fix that in post? Go ahead and try and fix it in post.
Yeah, I'll do a post. I was just like,
oh man, hey, you got that. I got the letter. Hold on, you got that? All right, cool. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, like I met you through the internet. You know, if I look at my own life, I think back, you know, I work basically all day. I get home and I have other things I have to do at home that need my attention. So, and it's always been like that, really. So for me, there would have never really been a time to showcase my portfolio, my art, anything like that. If we decided to think of art, only art if you see it in a gallery, or only art if you see it in a book, or something along those lines. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have big goals where I would still love to end up in a gallery. I'd still love to end up in a book. I mean, I've been trying to work on my own book, my own zine for a while.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
I don't think that takes from the rest of it. I think it all should be incorporated into one. And I did mention doing live shows where it kind of incorporates everything that I've known. Something like what I have in mind would require the help of basically every creative I know. Coffee creatives, automotive enthusiasts creatives, photography creatives, abstract artists, basically all of it. I mean, even architecture, you know, something like that would obviously require a lot of money and a lot of donations and a lot of work. It would be a lot of work. So that's definitely something that's sort of one of my bigger goals. That's still a while away, but it's a great way to showcase how everything is. Right? Don't air that because that may be the name of it, but everything is everything. I mean, we're living everything around us, and now everything also incorporates an online world that we can't touch. It's not tangible. So something that can showcase all of that would be a big end goal, but I don't think it should take from anything else.
Do you kind of see that project being beyond yourself, something that you would allow someone or kind of open up to more people? Because you said like collaborative. Would you want that project to be taken on someone else? Maybe like a family member, if you have like a kid or something, or a protege or anyone that you're kind of like mentoring in any way. What is the longevity of this goal that you have? You know, because it can't be just restricted to your life, you know, like as long as you're alive, because you wanted to keep on impacting people. Yet with the impacting, do you want it to just be a still photo, a still art piece in a still moment in time? Or do you kind of see it being an ongoing process, developing, evolving with different people that kind of take the role of what you were doing, of creating it? Even though you're the creator of the AI system at birth and stuff, like you also kind of like want to mold it into an evolving piece. You kind of want it to pick up and attraction.
I think that would be the ultimate goal at that point. It comes back to what we were just talking about right before. I think I'd love for it to be a community thing, you know, and instead of it just being, you know, this one person, since it wouldn't just be my own work. Sure, I could be the one that had the initial idea, but no idea is unique. I know other people out there are thinking the same thing as me. So I think if it could be a community effort, that would allow it to grow a lot faster than I could ever achieve on my own.
That's a huge challenge in like the creative community. One of the biggest challenges of the monolith of getting over collaboration, of not just self-insecurity, but the kind of caution that goes with people stealing each other's art, because it does happen. Unfortunately, it does happen, like not just style wise, but like, dude, no one's original. Come on, like everyone pulls inspiration from something. They pull passion from something. Even fucking like music and everything. Like, dude, don't get fucking
everything's a remix. Dog. Everything's a remix.
Yeah, everything's a remix. Hey, baby, Lil Jon could agree with that, huh? Yeah. Yeah, baby. What if someone else like steals my idea and stuff like? But then you also had a good point of needing other people. Like you need that collaboration to get inspiration to, but also expand on your idea. Maybe they have like a really good like a piece of that, you know? And that's a huge thing with like building the community, of building it up, building the confidence of people starting off, people that are literally professionals. Like it doesn't matter, because everyone's there to create something. Everyone's there, like in any community, everyone's there to like just fucking have fun, dog. Like live, laugh, love, baby. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And see, one of the biggest things that I felt like in my personal life, like taking it down to a small personal level, is that I did struggle with letting other people help me. And I never felt like it was because I thought certain things were the right answer, or I only knew the right answer. It had a lot to do with pride, whether I like it or not. I think we all have a certain amount of pride in ourselves, and I've been working really hard on trying to get past that, because I realized that everything's a lot better when you let others pitch in. I mean, not to say things can't get worse, they definitely can, but I'd like to be a little bit more optimistic about that, and I try and see the best in other people as much as I can. And I have tried to convince myself that you need other people, regardless of what you think. I think the only way to make it through life is through the help of other people. And I think you can direct that energy into a creative's life as well. I think everything as a community would be infinitely better than as something just myself. My life can only tell one story, but if one piece I do can tell 100 different stories, I think it would do a lot more as a piece for a community than it would as a standalone piece with only my opinion. And that's why I ask for opinions from my friends and stuff.
That's a great way of putting it, of like growing, not just on your journey, progressing in your craft and in your profession, but also asking for those opinions. Like that shows so much trust in people. Like that is such a sensitive thing. Showing your art to people and like sharing that, it is very sensitive. Even though people are like, oh dude, I'll just publish it, like whatever, if it gets seen, it gets seen. But I know it means more to you. It's very special to you. It's very like endearing that you ask your friends and family to kind of like go over that, you know, like kind of like get their perspective, get their opinions on that. And I also want to go back to, I guess, like the challenges of it, not just challenging everyone, like everything's a challenge, but what has been at least the biggest challenge right now that you've been facing? Not limitations or anything from the pandemic, but I guess just personally, like you said, like you're kind of redirecting and everything. What has been the biggest challenge, and what have you kind of grown into and adapted to kind of like advert from that, or challenging yourself more and growing from it, like kind of like, you know, like weightlifting or whatever, like practicing and strengthening yourselves and strengthening those weak points you used to have overall challenge or little challenges, either one. Just give me anything. Give me.
I feel like there's so many of them. It's really hard to pinpoint one because I feel like I'm constantly working. I'm constantly finding something new that I don't like about myself, my art, or whatever it may be, and always try and improve on it, of course. I think it could be that seeking help, opinion, whatever it may be, maybe just even introspection. I think just the general idea of thinking has really gotten me far, at least during quarantine and this whole pandemic, is that as much as I say I overthink, I also think I don't think enough sometimes. And
oh man, you're like, what are you, man? Are you? I'm ignorant, so I don't even.
No, and we all are really. And that's the thing is, if I can sit down and think, try and fix on issues, because I can list issues forever. I can list attributes forever. I think that sitting down and reviewing everything, oh man, that's
hard. How often do you reflect then? So not just work, but like, do you ever like sit down, have your cafecito in the morning, a little pan, little bread, a little tea, or whatever you like to do, or like on the toilet when you're taking the shit? That's when I do it. You just like think, like no phone, nothing, no like morning time, but it's just like not strategize anything, but just think, just like
no,
reflect,
I don't, and that's another issue I'm trying to work past. I realized I don't do that. I
gotta be a thoughty, dude.
I have busy thought the entire time. Throughout the entire day, I'm always thinking, but I don't give enough attention to the actual thought process itself and let myself sit down, journal. I need to practice more on journaling. I think the few times I have journaled, it has led to really big strides and leaps in my mental health and just general thought processes. So I think journaling for sure helps kind of direct that energy there, but I know I'm not doing enough of it. So I still haven't really even answered your question, because it's such a challenging question, because there's always something new to work on, and there's always new, obstacles really when you're constantly thinking.
Like, have you had a recurrent thought for the past year, maybe past 5 years, or anything that you've been meaning to get to, been meaning to work on, or anything that's been, I guess, like not harvesting weight, but something that you haven't explored yet, an avenue that's been not looked down yet, that you kind of keep consistently bringing back into your mind?
I 100%, since I was a kid, I'd write fake scripts. I want to make movies. I want to make videos in any regard, whether it be from not having the right computer. I always find something to stop myself, and I never let myself fully jump into it. Right now, my excuse would be time. I would try and say I don't have time to record a movie. I don't have time to write a movie. That is one big thing I really want to work on. I really, really want to get around to working on actually filming and getting actual ideas I have for shoots down and actually coming around to shooting them. A great thinker, and I'm a terrible doer when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, taking action is one of the hardest things. You got the motivation, you got the thoughts and everything. It's just like putting it into fruition is something else. It's I like the monolith. It's like the coagula. It's so hard to kind of put it out in practice, because whether like computer equipment, but then we like take a step back. We're like, oh, yo, wait a minute. There's iMovie on the iPhone. A lot of people started on like just script writing, and then not even like kind of getting all that boundary of like, what's a movie? Long format movie? There's some abstract movies, short films, TikToks, fucking Vine. That shit's a movie, the ongoing series. And like, that's the thing. It's like, what about our thought? What about our like thought is kind of like getting blocked and stuff? And like, that's the biggest challenge I feel like of like a Renaissance man like yourself, like, like trying to think of everything. Like, you want to delve into everything. You want to explore everything. It's like, how am I going to do this time wise? How am I going to do this with my schedule? How am I going to plan it out and bring it into fruition, and bring this other thing into fruition, or bring this other thing into it, or like kind of even combine those things? And like, that's such a cool problem to have. It's so cool to have that challenge, because we literally get it done. Like, eventually, like it does happen.
Yeah, I'm very proud of having that problem, because it is a problem that at times, at least in immediate circles, sometimes it'll feel unique in its way. When looking specifically at that, because I feel like everyone does the same thing with their own thing, whether it be today I'm focusing on art, this kind of thing, this general creative space. I'm lacking, and I have too many things to do. People struggle with that every single day, but it's a nice problem I like to have. It reminds me that I stay busy, but it's also a huge source of guilt for me whenever I find myself taking time off.
I feel that, dog. That bugs me. Not be productive, chilling. Nah, I hate that feeling of like, if I even sit down and take a nap, or anything. Except like when I go on fucking Twitter and doink out for like 3 hours, I'm like, I don't feel guilty. But then I'm like, I should. Like that's not doing anything productive.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, but socializing is taking a break, and I'm like, I guess. But then I'm like, fuck, I can't just sit still. Like, how do you find that difference of like being online or like, you know, just chilling or like being around your family and friends? Like, do you get that almost like stress or like that weight of not doing anything productive, or are you kind of like okay in like a good balanced space when you're doing those things?
I think before COVID hit, whenever I would hang out with friends, I wouldn't worry about it so much. But because oftentimes I was still doing something when I was hanging out with friends. For the most part, while I was hanging out with friends, I was shooting simultaneously while I was out with friends. I'm that annoying friend that had their camera at the dinner table, that kind of stuff, or like, would edit whenever I wasn't talking. So I always found myself doing stuff, whether I realized it or not. It was subconscious to the point where I was resting and I didn't realize I was still working at the same time. And
like
I
resting,
think nowadays it's a lot harder for myself to kind of sit down and relax without the guilt, because, you know, unfortunately we can't go see our friends, and I've gone a very long time without seeing many of my friends. And that's just the way things are. I understand that sacrifices have to be made, but mentally it has been a drainer because I find myself overthinking as I do an entire day, and then I'll spend the entire day overthinking about how I'm not doing enough, and it'll plunge me into this deeper hole. And whenever I find myself doing that, that's objectively now, if I look at it now, that's when I know I should have stopped. I should have started journaling and should have tried doing something a little bit more constructive, but that's also my guilt speaking for me. So there's never a break from the guilt.
Damn, just always guilty. Yo, send him. I was gonna say prison, but I don't believe in prison. So like, send you off to an island, Loving Island or Antarctica. No, I'm kidding.
Somewhere far away from me, please.
Dog, just like that. Let that guilt ride, baby. Woo! You're guilty.
It's hard work. It's really hard work finding out how to let go of it. Hopefully I will be able to. It's all a part of the process. I don't think I've met a single creative who doesn't suffer from that.
Yeah, man. I especially get the like I'm gonna call it chafa chilling. It's just like you're passively working on stuff, either thinking of a project, which is still literally working. It's planning the project, like planning something, or editing passively on your phone, or looking through stuff, you know, like that. It's kind of like working still in some way, or your mind's still like in another zone of just like, instead of reflecting, meditating, chilling, enjoying your day, enjoying your coffee. I don't know. I like coffee a lot, so but like it's so hard, like you said, like, but it's admirable that you're still in that zone of wanting to create, of having energy to work on stuff, because, you know, like you said, you know, like not seeing our friends and everything is draining mentally. So you kind of replace that with working, which is in a way it's still healthy, you know, like to find something to do and everything. But have you found it to get to an extent of being not healthy during the past year, of overworking yourself, overextending yourself in some way? And how did you kind of get out of that routine of overextending? You know,
unfortunately, that doesn't end with a happy story, because it's not over yet.
Oh no! What the? Don't tell it then. Well, easy. Let's end the podcast. Don't tell your story.
I can tell you the story so far, because
Oh, the band's cool. No, I'm kidding.
When the pandemic first hit, I was able to slow down, and then it made me think like, man, I am moving too fast. I got to slow down. And I enjoyed the slowdown for about a month before I started speeding back up and finding things to fill my pockets of time with. And that's a thing where I find it really hard, because that same mentality has gotten me through life to where I am today. And I'm pretty proud of the places I've been to today and how far I've come today. Yeah. So it's hard that I have that confirmation cycle where it's like, hey, you pushing yourself constantly has gotten you this far. Don't stop. Keep going. And then, you know, it wasn't up until last year, I believe it was June or July. I think it was July, when I had my first actual like panic attack, and I hadn't realized I had taken on to way too much stress at work, between creative work and my actual 9-to-5 job that I have has been draining me so much that my body eventually just couldn't handle the stress from it anymore, and I had to basically confront it like head on. Like, I basically thought I had COVID every single day. Tests came back, man, and that was when tests were hard to come by. So I had to pay for some of these tests.
Yeah, fools were actually getting tested because they cared. Oh man, you had to pay to get that regular fast track
I didn't
Disney
do the
Pass
fast
test
ones because they took longer than. Oh man, but
yeah.
So I think last year was the first time I noticed that I had to really take a step back and restructure my life and refocus my attention onto certain things and kind of be okay with letting go of certain things. I will always be the guy that wants to do everything. And if I can, I will. If something's broken at home, I'll learn how to fix it and I'll fix it myself. But I think last year really taught me that sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes it's okay to let somebody else do something. And there's nothing wrong about that. So that was kind of like the first step I took towards fixing stress that I was putting on myself and overworking myself constantly because I was putting things on myself that no one was asking me to except for myself. And since then, it's gotten better. I still get waves of anxiety, but I never had like panic attacks like that. And being able to take time off of work, whether it be for quarantining, if I have to quarantine, I luckily to this day, fingers crossed, have not had COVID, but I've had people close to me who have had COVID where I've had to quarantine for that time. I think last year I ended up quarantining I went into quarantine like 3 times within the span of a month.
Holy shit!
Or a little bit over a month. You can do the math.
Damn.
It's 6 weeks.
I can't do math. I'm illiterate, dog.
It's 6 weeks. Let's call it 6 weeks.
6 weeks. What the fuck is a week?
It's 7 days probably.
7 times 14.
What?
Wait, what? Yeah, I know. See, exactly. What?
Well, now you lost me. But yeah, that's it was that, and no, I don't have an ending to that story because I'm still to this day trying to find a balance between work and work, because as you know, that's just the life of a creative. You have your job and you have your job, which is your creative work. And unfortunately, my creative work never exits and never clocks out because it's just, there's no way for me to get my brain to turn it off,
Yeah. And you don't want to turn it off, dude. You just want to keep on.
I really don't want to turn it off. It's addicting. I love it.
Yeah, it's
a drug. It's a drug because as soon as I get something good from it, I get confirmation that what I'm doing is okay because I ignore all the bad things about it and I only pay attention to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or not, I'm still here, baby.
We've been hanging and banging, brother.
Yeah. Hey, that's showbiz, baby. That's what I like to hear.
That's just showbiz. That's just the way.
It's admirable that you could be aware of taking a step back. And I really like how you said like you're going too fast and stuff, like Too Fast, Too Furious, Cars 3, Lightning McQueen in life. Even though like it was only a month, it's really good that you slowed down in some way, or like you knew you had to kind of put things, rebalance things, or kind of like approach things differently. And I'm really sorry to hear that about the panic attack. I know that's always like frustrating and confusing to like kind of get out of and find a new routine or reestablish yourself and ground yourself after that. Like I really hope that this like upcoming year kind of like settles you back into that state of taking a step back and like relaxing, like meditating and everything and like enjoying yourself, enjoying your project still and finding that balance with time, because that is a huge thing with reopening. And sometimes some things prematurely reopening, but it's happening. Like we're going into, I wouldn't say normality, but going into another stage of this pandemic and of society and just life, and it's gonna be a little hard to like find that balance. I mean, that is showbiz, baby. There's nothing else to say than that. Ooh,
there really is nothing else to say. I mean, just a few things I have planned already. I have a lot of things planned for this year, both creative and just strict business and strict personal life. There's a lot of things I have planned. Thank you, Lil Jon. There's a lot of things I have planned. And I know I'm going to be busier than I was last year, but that's exactly how I want it. And I feel like I will find a way to handle the stresses of it because of my awareness of it. I think I might be able to find a way to just work it into the schedule. And I hate how I do that because I know I take on too many things.
Overextension.
But hopefully I can get rid of something else if I do feel that incoming doom.
Yeah, don't take a shower, dude. That's just waste of time, dog. Just
waste of time.
Yeah.
Sleep for who? Not
just
me.
Use those like little baby wipes and just be like easy, baby.
I keep a ton of them in my car.
Yeah,
I'm way ahead of you.
Keep it in your gooch, dude. It's all good.
I wish I were lying, but that's not what I use them for. They're just leftovers from the previous project.
Oh, fuck. It's all good, dude. I mean, like everyone knows, like all fucking the one listener, which is like me, knows, but like and you, right?
Dude. Two.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
be
the
listening.
two. Oh, you be listening, fucking loser. Why the?
And then
fuck
you have the
listen?
one listener and your drunk listener.
Oh,
Where's
in
he
South
at?
Korea. That okay? Yeah, that's a consistent one. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The dude's always listen. I mean, he's a little late sometimes. I'm like, hey, you dead? But it's all good. He's a little phased right now. But
Sometimes you just gotta give him a little nudge.
yeah, a little nudge. Yeah, just a little. Where's the noise?
A little nudge, maybe a little nug, you know, whatever.
A little nug.
Nice.
I don't even know what DMT is,
What?
dog. Oh wait, that's not a nug.
Well, hold on.
Your face is like,
Drugs?
I don't know.
This man doing drugs.
I don't even know what that means. Oh man,
This man?
But this man, dude, thank you so much for basically nothing. I mean, like I don't even know what you said, man. I kind of forgot everything, but it's all good. I'll remember.
Me too,
tomorrow.
man. It's been weird. Full transparency, I feel like I've rambled every single answer.
That's what this podcast is for, baby. That's the best part.
I'm glad I'm not alone then, because I hope that all my sentences are coming out cohesive and at least kind of reflect a little bit of the things I'm thinking. But my thoughts are just rushing too quickly. You know exactly
I
what
feel
that's
that,
like.
man, yeah.
It's been weird. I like it. Like I told you before, I've always wanted to get onto a podcast, and I hope to eventually get onto my own someday.
Oh, yeah.
Or get onto or come back in the future. I'd love to. I mean, I love talking, man. I can talk forever. And
dude, that's the best part. Yeah, it's your episode. It's your space to talk. Yeah.
but yeah, it's been awesome. It's been weird. And I hope I can do
That's
it
the
again.
best part, man. I keeping it weird. If I don't keep it weird and funky, then dude, the Korean South Korean dude's gonna leave. But he's my only Patreon supporter, so I can't.
Well, we can find another.
Oh, you're right, dude. Money's everywhere, baby. That's easy, easy, man. Oh man, dude, I feel that like rambling and shit. Like, oh man, like sometimes I like lose my train of thought, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I even saying? Like,
Oh man, I'm so glad I'm not alone, because I listen to so many podcasts that just sound so cohesive, and I'm like,
right, yeah.
Now that I'm doing it, you know, objectively, when you're listening to it, I'm like, hey, this sounds pretty put together. How hard can this be?
Right.
And then I'm here, it's like, I'm not prepared for any of the questions. I don't have any answers prepared.
Bro, the
I'm
first
just
question I
raw
asked,
dogging
we couldn't even figure it out. Fuck, you're right. Oh man, jeez.
At least I'm not alone. It really, really helps.
Yeah, dude, I've been doing this for like what 4 years now. I can't even fucking interview still. It's like damn, but it's all good.
So it never gets better.
No, it gets worse. No, I'm kidding. No,
Gotcha.
Dude, it was such a I was gonna say pleasure. It's a privilege to talk to you, honestly, in such an intimate way and open up. And I'm really glad you're so open with this conversation, dude. I really can't thank you enough for being so transparent, for being genuine with everything you've been saying, and I really hope it kind of gets to the right people. Like it really speaks it not just in a creative way, but just a life aspect of stepping back, of the time period, of the space you're in, of the space we're in, and really defining the character that you're portraying and the character that you genuinely have. It's a very wholesome. Like it's very wholesome that like you have a good journey going on. You have a good head about you.